Live from Detroit.
Yo, what up, though? It's your man Jay Johnson, a.k.a. the tinfoil hat titan, a.k.a. the conspiracy realist, a.k.a. the technology snob, Steve Jobs Jr. Don't text me with your green bubbles, a.k.a. I only debate my equals, everybody else I teach. Also known as Juice, because all the hoes say J.U. Ice, Young Caesar, because you know you can't roam without me. Mister, if you don't like me, fight me. I got kicked out of Noah's Ark because they couldn't find another animal just like me, a.k.a. the West Side T'Challa, the new leader of Wakanda. Don't debate me, debate your mama. I am the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. What up?
What up, though? It's your man Dame. 3_313, the West Side Landlord, the Pride of PA, High Chief Dame Don't Fuck Around, the Liquor Store Legend, the Corner Store Conquistador, your mama's favorite Dame, and the David Ruffin of the Shop Talk Podcast, because you know who the fuck they came to see. Not you, Otis. It's no better than these 4 letters. Thank God for Dame. And if you speaking on Dame, you better say it nice. And if you don't put the boss in front, then bitch, you're not saying it right. It's the Honorable Judge Boss Dame and his bitch all rise. Let's go.
Welcome back. Shop Talk Podcast, episode 351. On you hoes. Oh, man. It's been a whole bunch of them things.
Yeah, man. 300.
We had a nice little run. We having a nice little kickoff to January, man. We ended 2022 good, and we've been on a nice little road, man.
2023 is gonna be an amazing year. You know what I realized this year? I was looking at something on the news, and maybe we can talk about it a little bit later. You know, the Winans Church perfecting then own that piece of property for 20 years now?
Boy, I got
20 years?
I got deep in my conspiracy bag earlier this week. I'm like, I wonder what the fuck is going on in there, dog.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
But is it, though?
Yes.
Underground fight club in that one. Like, I don't know. It's a gambling ring. Who knows what's going on there?
It's an eyesore. And I'm glad... Like, you know, I got a little personal connection there, but I'm glad the city kind of pressing them just a little bit.
I mean, it's been 20 years.
Do something.
That's not a press. Like, that's not a legit 20 years. That's not a press. It's a running joke.
It's at least 20 years that we know about. You know, beforehand, you kind of looking at the land, making sure the specs is right, getting a specific test. On paper, they've had that land for 20 years. And I know a lot of people that go to perfecting.
Boy.
You know, we trying to walk into it without no mortgage and all that. But look, man.
Yo.
Look, 20.
Hey, listen, man. You can't outslick a can of oil. You feel me? I know what time it is. But my ex, she used to go to perfecting. When we first started kicking it, I mean, teacher, she was at that church all the time, and I just couldn't get with it. You feel me? And we had one debate about the order in which they take money from their congregation, and I just couldn't understand it. You know what I'm saying? Like, all the rich niggas sit on this side, and all the poor people sit on. Like, I just, you know, we did not see eye to eye in that regard.
I got this thing about mega churches. And I'm going to keep it to myself for right now.
No, I said, don't be scared.
You know, I always talk about my grandfather being a pastor. My uncle was a pastor. And I saw my grandfather, like, get up from Wednesday. Like, we could be having dinner just on a Wednesday, just on a humble.
Yeah.
A call to come through to the house. Something that went on with a member of the church. And he'll get up, excuse himself from dinner, get himself together. He out the door.
Yeah.
Because he need to go see somebody at the hospital, need to go pray for somebody. I remember at the end of service, him always being accessible. You could walk up on him. You could go to the office. If you needed to see him, literally my grandparents' house number was in the church bulletin. It would be times where I would be just a young man at the house and I would answer the phone. It's Sister So-and-so looking for my grandfather because something didn't happen. So I knew the accessibility. Well, my uncle was a pastor for years out in New York up until he fell ill and like passed. Like, he was still preaching at the pulpit like a month before he died. And the same thing was accessible. People would come by the apartment, would come by the house. He was a pillar in the community where, like, there's a specific, like, suit shop that he always bought clothes from, you know, throughout his life. We would walk there. People would greet him. Like, we would walk through the neighborhood. People would greet him. You know, they knew who he was. Yeah. You know, if we stopped somewhere and say, I wanted a sandwich or a pop or something, we could stop at the store. People would see him. He's like, oh, you with the Reverend? this is us. Y'all have a good one. And I just saw those type of relationships. Now with this mega church thing, I feel like preaching, or when you touch people, there should be some level of accessibility. When you're doing...
They've removed the community aspect from it, because I used to go to Spring Hill. Where Spring Hill used to be at is on Greenfield, 7 Mile Greenfield, but closer to in between 8 Mile and 7 Mile, but closer to Greenfield. And before mega churches was like a thing, like this is the closest that you can get to like a big church. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But Reverend Moss at the time, God bless him, he was so interconnected. You know what I'm saying? My family was interconnected at this church. My father, deacon, Sunday school, superintendent, mama, Sunday school. Like, we were so interconnected. We was at their house. Their children, my god sisters. You know what I'm saying? Like, so interconnected. When he stepped down and somebody else stepped up in the family, things got a little different. I was younger. I didn't really understand what was going on. But it was a community aspect. Matter of fact, the stoplight that's there currently was there because we petitioned for that for like 6 years. Because this church had three buildings. Had the actual church. There was across the street was like a little gym.
Centers.
Yeah, and then there was a house that they used to let people stay in.
A transitional home.
And low key it's technically 4 properties. And right now they do hair in the spot, but that used to be where Sunday school was at. So there was always children crossing the street, and Greenfield was a very busy street. So they petitioned for years and years to get the stoplight. It was just very community driven, but that has been lost somewhere. Now it's like, hey man, I'm a celebrity. You feel me? Like, I see y'all at 11 o'clock, and that's not the same
It's
thing.
Something
no
about
more.
that just don't sit right with me, and I don't want to judge because I don't know. Clearly I don't run a church. I don't know the inner workings or what you got to do. I understand there's a business aspect. It is a faith-based business. There is, but when I think about service to the community, serving the people that go to your church, and then like, if something happens, I know when my mother died, she died inside of my parents' house. Mm-hmm. And I have a friend of mine that's a pastor. My dad called him. He was to the house within the hour to pray for us, to be there when they came and removed the body from the house. But I always wonder, like, if I go to one of these big mega churches and something in my life happens, I don't want junior pastor so-and-so to come out, like, because you don't preach on Sundays. Like, can I get the man in the house to come on? I don't want it. I can't wait 2 weeks.
He don't got a special access on the line of the Lord. You feel me? Junior pastor talk to God like everybody else do.
Okay, well, call the other guy up on the main line and tell him what I want. That's all I'm saying. I just feel a way. But when I think about like 20 years. Like, I'm on the side of the city at this point. I want you to, because it was condos promised, it was the church, a lot of other stuff, and I drive past there pretty often, and it ain't nothing but that shell that's been up, I don't know, better part of a decade.
If not, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
That's all I'm saying. Like,
there is a business, there is a church, and then there's a church business. I had a family member who was very involved in the church business for one of these particular churches. And it's legitimately like they got it down to a science where if we tell the customers to come to the altar, right? And if don't nobody come, they'll tell everybody to close their eyes, and then they'll say a man is coming up to the front, because when a man comes up, they know a woman or 2 women will come because like, oh look, there's a man coming up. And based on how many members I got, I can kind of average out how much money you gonna give me, how much your tide's gonna be, how much your stuff. And it's like,
look, I done been places that lock the door. Lock the door.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Make it happen. Lock the door.
It's interesting. I'm actually gonna introduce our guest, because like this not the main topic, but one of the first times I ran into their content, and it was a similar to this. But on the pod, man, we've been talking about New Era Detroit for a number of years. We always fully supported them. Pro-Black organization formed to restore Black unity and Black communities in Detroit, that is across the nation, specializing in the organization, structure of Black communities, making organization like a way of life. And right now in the studio, we got one of the founders of New Era Detroit. I'll let him introduce himself.
Peace and love, peace and love. Appreciate y'all, good brothers, man, for having me.
Appreciate you for coming through.
Yeah, I'm Zeek with New Era Detroit.
Man, pleasure to have you on the show, man.
Yeah, man. Like I told when I greeted you in the lobby, this is something we've been wanting to do for a minute. Shout out to the homie Rafa for making a connection. We've had him on the show several times, literally before the grocery store became like a brick and mortar. Mm-hmm. We've been talking to him, so we've seen the inception to where he's at now. We consider him a brother. Has been here, was here just a few weeks ago in the studio with us. We still got his belt in the other room.
Yeah, I talked to him early today, actually.
He ain't come back
today.
Yeah, he ain't come back. But he made the connection for us, and man, we're ecstatic to have you here and talk to you, and kind of pick your brain a little bit about New Era Detroit and some of the things we see you around the city doing.
No, that's love, man, and big shout out to my good brother, man. I'm impressed with like the younger generation, the ones that actually get it. You feel me? And him and along with a few other young brothers, man. Brother Jawan, I don't know if y'all familiar with him. He do the debate. He got the debate team and stuff. He do a lot of dope stuff, but it's a lot of good young talent around the city of Detroit that we should be proud of.
Yeah,
one thing that I love, like a lot of the people in our circle, really everybody that we kind of connected with on the business end, are good, solid dudes that we met with business and it turned into something else. And what I can say about Raphael, our homies, the twins, everything that they said that they would do, put us in touch with, we're going to make happen for us, they stood tall on all of it.
I'm just a big proponent of somebody doing what they said they was going to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And with good intentions. Clearly you can't predict the future, but when somebody say I'm gonna do something, when they do it, I mean, that's the kind of things I respect, which is why I don't make promises that I don't intend on keeping or if I don't think I can keep. But when you say something and you do it, it's all the respect in the world for me.
Absolutely.
So before we start talking about New Era Detroit and things of that nature, what side of town are you from?
From the west side.
West side. What high school did you go to?
I went to Weston, man. It was one of those schools that just opened, bro. It was like a charter school for real when I first started doing that. But it was right over there between Redford and Henry Ford. It was really one of them transitioning school, open door schools. So people who got kicked out of Red, people who got kicked out of Ford. You'll see a lot of people come in and out and stuff like that. But it was smooth.
Yeah. How was it like growing up though? I mean, everybody.
Yeah. Detroit. I feel like people from certain sides of the city, like we all got the same story for real. Like it's the same thing. You feel me? It's just like growing up in the city. In the '90s, early 2000s. I'm an '80s baby, so I was born in '85. But really growing up in I feel like one of the last, like the calm before the storm.
Yeah,
type
for
area,
sure.
You feel me? Like that was like the last time it was just. Like we was able to move around and kind of do what we wanted to do without worrying about so much of the stuff that's going on in these times. You know what I mean? So, it was good times back in the day for real, man. We got to move how we wanted to move and, people was getting money and without, all the extra stuff that's going on.
And there was still so much going on in that time now that we kind of we can look back on it in hindsight. Like stuff was still kind of crazy, but like you said, it were certain boundaries.
Yeah.
I be wondering, I'm born in '82, so crack was cracking in the '80s. You feel me? So I'm born to my brother 3 years older than me, but my dad was 23 and my mom was 21 when they had me. So if you living in the '80s and you 21, 23 years old, while crack is at its all-time high, I think that impacts how you raise your children, where you keep them from or whatnot. Like when we talk about, I know your favorite phrase, crack babies and shit like that.
I believe it's somewhat of a myth.
But it really shaped what's going on. I was blessed to grow up in a 2-family home, Dame as well. How was your structure?
Mine's the same. Yeah.
How much do you think that has an impact on how you are when you matriculate to adulthood?
It has the most impact. I mean, you can actually see it. The science is there. We can all just see when people say that they've been raised in a 2-parent, household. There's certain things that we still hold value of, like morals and ethics and codes and stuff like that. Things like that develop from, 2-family households. And, I kind of wanted to hit on that other issue too, even with the crack back in the 80s. In Detroit, it was kind of different too, because, a lot of people, even with it being such an epidemic of like crack and, cocaine back in the 80s, we still had the factories, man. So, it was a lot of legit money that was, that's how we really breeded families here in the city of Detroit, because of, that being able to have so much, connections with really being able to have jobs and opportunities back then.
Absolutely. I mean, my grandmother retired from one of the big three.
We all got that story.
My grandfather, the whole nine, everybody
somebody in every family that worked for Chrysler, Ford.
It's lifeblood of, and what's crazy, currently right now, a lot of people in the city of Detroit or the metro area, they work for the big three.
Yeah.
Or a supplier or something like that.
Because it's people make whatever jokes they want to make about the plant, but if you're walking out of high school with just a high school degree, it's one of the few places you can go and make a substantial living right out the gate. All you got to do is get in. Get in, you go to work, you can make a substantial living. 19, 20 years old, working at the plant, you can literally work there until, your retirement age.
Median income in the city of Detroit, it's like $20,000. So if you can go into a factory making anywhere between $40,000 and $80,000, because it kind of varies. I mean, you straight.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
You can maintain a comfortable middle class existence.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of that course is kind of coming to an end though, because
absolutely,
the price of like living has it's just really out of control for real. So even with that, like trading time for money is like one of those things that this newer generation especially is not really willing to do that like that for real. So I can't, those big companies, they're going to have a hard time. You know what I mean? Like in the coming years, the next decade, it's going to be interesting to see, what they up their wages to be competitive to, this way of living in these times. And also a whole generation that's not really willing to work. This generation not really willing to work. So what do we do with that?
It's the double-edged sword, because to a certain extent, like, I want everybody to know their position and their value in the community and be able to negotiate a wage that's like respectable. And some of the young folks is doing it, and then some of them are doing it because they rather not work. And it's like, some gonna have to give, because you don't work, you don't eat.
Yeah, and so they figured out other ways to maintain themselves, whether it be social media.
They stealing.
Scamming.
I mean, let's keep it 100. Like, they stealing.
Yeah,
scamming. Yeah, I mean, they
digital pocketbook.
That's the new selling dope. That's what dope selling. That's what that shit look like.
Yeah, for sure.
Back in the 80s, that's the new hustle. That's the new game.
But it's not. It's like how we live through big drug dealing. You know what I'm saying? We saw the beginning, the crux, and then the end of it. They just had the beginning with the scamming part. It hasn't. Even though it's crazy right now, it hasn't reached its peak.
Because they can stop it whenever they want to stop it. It's just not being stopped.
That's fine, because it's a market for everybody when it comes to.
I mean, like the banks,
I get what you're saying.
It can be stopped when they wanted to stop.
But everybody got their hands in a pot for right now. Now, when certain legislation change, when real change happens, then we'll start to see, the change that it is that we're looking for with it. But like right now, until we haven't seen the worst, so we haven't seen what the other side looks like. Now, when the money starts slowing down and now let's say mid-20s with no tangible skills, it's going to look a little bit different out here.
Man.
Same thing with dope.
Yeah,
Same thing
we've seen the cycle, so we know what it looks like. They just haven't lived through it.
Same thing when they close a plant in Pontiac, or they close a plant in Flint. Like, we make all these areas for y'all to live at, so y'all can go to the plant and then close the plant, and then like a little crack over here, and now that's your main import export out of your neighborhood. Like, y'all, Pontiac was a town that was created for the plant, and then when it closed, what are all these people supposed to do?
Pontiac, Flint, Highland Park.
Yep. We can go on and on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For real. And look at the way they looking right now. because of that, no industry has been able to come and replace that type.
Ghost towns.
Yeah.
Ghost towns.
What's interesting too, man, is two things. Back when Andrew Yang was running for president or whatever he was running for, he was talking about his AI and how it's gonna really cripple it. He was trying to get the universal basic income, all that other crap. But the number 2 jobs in the country is call center worker, 3, call center worker, cashier, and truck driver. And once they automate that, it's gonna be different. It's gonna be like Detroit the auto industry got snatched from Detroit across the country at the same time. So now what do you do when the trucks drive themselves, when the AI is smart enough to talk? Everybody playing with this chat GPT and talking and making it smarter. Like, what do you do when I no longer need you to do a basic, simple task? You know what I'm saying? And call center, and now we press 1, press 2, where everything is online. Yeah. It's like, yo, we got to find some tangible skills somewhere, and everybody can't code. You know what I'm saying? Not the AI smart enough to code itself. Like, it's getting real. It's getting real hairy out here.
Gonna be skills. Like what other, they took skilled trades out of school so long ago, but like people need if you learn a skill, you learn a trade, you can feed your family.
Facts.
If you know how to, we have Votech and things like that, but like literally, I remember my ex-wife when I met her in high school, she was taking cosmetology. Now, granted, she don't do hair or do nails now, but like that's a skill that she has where if shit hit the fan, she could take that skill and make a living with it. And they don't teach that to young kids.
No matter how advanced life and civilization get, somebody gonna have to come fix the toilet, dog.
It's gonna be something. We just really moving into a whole nother like new era of living though. I mean, it's gonna be jobs which is gonna be based upon technology. Yeah. Everything technology has really, come and embodied the earth for real. So we just gotta be able to figure out what those jobs gonna be, get ahead of the curve and create. You feel me? Like we gotta be able to create our own lanes, and it's really like we hitting the start over button for real. Yeah. So we gotta put ourselves in a position to be, smart enough to figure out how to move in this new life, this new way of living.
And if the pandemic didn't do anything else, it exposed us to how vulnerable we really are, how much we don't have, and how much we don't know.
Man, if it's exposed anything for me, it'll be if we got reparations, that shit'll be over with the next year.
The next year.
I used to be like, no, give me the money. I'll do what I need. No, it's a horrible idea if we got reparations, because then you don't got no.
We still need reparations. They can.
It's a different way to do it.
They can give me the money. Shit, 'cause we gonna do what the fuck we supposed to do. You feel me?
Yeah.
But you're right though. You feel me? But most people, it was just like it was a crazy test run, and look where people are. Literally, it hasn't even been a whole year. Feel like
we got them bottles. They was like ding. That's all was going on during the pandemic, and lobster boils and shit. And they made the price of buffs double. You feel me?
Made the price of buffs double.
Man, they ruined the market. Like, that's not what they cost, man. Now they cost that, but like, man, that's not it. But I don't know, man.
It exposed the truth, because I always joke about, I've said it on the show that like, I was working during the pandemic.
Likewise.
I was blessed enough to still have consistent income, and I went to work, and I felt for a minute like, man, I could be in the crib and getting a check to come through, but like, what would I really have done? I didn't have the big picture of like people that was scamming, getting that money.
I was frustrated because I was trying to get the fucking
we was trying to get the PPP for the studio,
like legitimately, and they kept saying no. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what the fuck?
We trying to pay rent.
I'm working at a credit union at the time, and like I'm literally seeing the amount of money that people are dropping in their accounts. Like here go 60,000, here go 90,000. They call like and it got to a point was like, yo, they didn't even have a tax ID number set up. So they was like, look, we're not even gonna give you the money unless you got a tax ID number. They calling me like, well, how do I get a tax ID number? Like, nigga, you don't got no business. You know what I'm saying? They making up. I'm like, yo, I'm seeing money get sent to everybody. Well, just at this particular credit union, who knows what all the bigger banks and everything was doing. I'm like, yo, here go 60, here go 90, here go $120,000. I'm like, fam, they closed the building down. They kept saying, no, unless you for agriculture or some shit. I'm like, dog, It was made for the skin. It wasn't made for the regular folks. I had to apply as an employee of a business that closed down, and that's how I got funds to keep the studio up afloat. And Trump and the state of Michigan extra money that they was giving out.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, damn, that's kind of wild. Like, how come I can't get the actual loan? Like, nigga, I pay my taxes, tax ID, the whole 9 yards. Like,
because it, like you said, that was the experiment. To see like what would really happen. That was the litmus test, and we showed them.
All right, so West Side, we know what school you came from, 2-parent home. Where did you always have a sense of community that we needed to do something, or was it something that happened in life like, yo, something ain't right about this?
Yeah, I feel like, I've always been the type of person that, thought about other people, you feel me? So I always had, I always move like that. Like, the people around me, make sure you take care of the people, make sure you look out for the people around you, those type of common sense morals. But, just over the years and growing up, man, and, moving around, doing so many things and, putting life into perspective, and not just life in the sense of my life, but, life as a whole, like, as a culture.
Yeah.
We go into these liquor stores and these gas stations and, give all our fucking money away. And, they get to talk, people get to talk crazy. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so much, like, women being kidnapped left and right, kids being shot and killed. People always ask, like, what made you get into this type of work? And my thing is, like, what make people don't want to get into this type of work? You feel me? I'm not no different from nobody else, but I understand, like, we got to take care of business, man. I have a 5-year-old son. And for me, there's no way I could ever, be comfortable with myself sitting back saying, this is the world, I'm going to leave you. You feel me? Like, just think about brothers and sisters who got whipped, and beat and killed for nothing. And they fought. And they, because they wanted to leave a better world for the next coming, and we sitting back chilling like we Gucci. I just feel like, and then you think, like, what's the definition of a man? And then you go further, like, okay, we come from kings and queens, we royalty. Well, what's the definition of a king? Well, a king takes care of his kingdom, you feel me? And I feel like for men out here, we not doing that. We not taking care of the kingdom. We living life real selfish. It's about me and what I'm doing and my check and my struggles and my pain. And, we not, sticking our chests out and saying it's about everybody as a collective and how we look as a collective and how we move as a collective and hitting the reset button so that we can put morals, ethics, codes back into the game somewhere, because it's nowhere right now. There's no morals, there's no value for life, there's no code. Ain't no code amongst black folks at all. So, my thing is always like, what's taking everybody else so long for real?
You had talked about like how we all kind of grew up in like a two family household coming up, mother, father in there. And I remember in the neighborhood that like I grew up in, most of the neighborhood was 2-family households. There were men on the block, men that I saw consistently. And even, maybe my father was at work or he was away doing something else, but other men that I could go to and look for help and for guidance. And I remember that always kind of played a part on me growing up, because I saw these men taking care of families. I saw them being pillars, and, they kept the grass cut. They made sure that, like, when we walk into school I knew every morning when I walked to the bus stop, there was a gentleman that lived up the street. He was a police officer, parked the car in the driveway every day. And I knew when I was walking to the bus stop, 6:37 in the morning, he making his bend around that corner, number one, to make sure that it's safe. Number two, to make sure, like him and my dad, cool, to make sure that I'm where I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be there and going in the direction that I'm supposed to be. Would he say something to me all the time? No, but I knew those eyes were silently on me,
for sure,
making sure that I was like not on some bullshit first thing in the morning. Like, so I mean,
which is important, because I was going to Cass. I'm going to the bus stop at 5:45 in the morning. 14 years old, you know what I'm saying? It's pitch black.
Yeah.
I got grown men at the gas station asking me for money. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't got people, and then like I know what time the Grays leave out to go to work in the morning. You know what I'm saying? I lived on Jer Road and Evergreen when it used to be like a cool neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? It's a different experience right now over there. But like, I don't know, man. I think the 80s were just so cool. 80s babies were so cool because we just got the best of both worlds. You know what I'm saying? Like
the last to get the best of both.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And over on where my grandmother and them stayed on Linwood and that Dexter area, like it was 2 big drug dealers over there, Zone 8 and all other shit. But like it was a code. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just a certain thing where they didn't fuck with in retrospect, with the Jameson, they was definitely recruiting. They're driving their Izukis. It was 2 twins. They'll pull up, throw chips and everything over the motherfucking fence and shit, and like, yo, this is such and such and such and such. Make it look really, really cool to go get the chips, and you know, y'all doing stuff for the community. But like, I remember one time specifically, we got out of school and everybody knew there's gonna be a shootout at 4:00 after school. So after school, everybody went home. The next day we come up there, there's bullet holes in the school. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who sent the word out to be like, yo, tell all the kids to go home, but the word was sent out.
Yeah.
Now, duck.
You know what? We just had that incident at Oak Park High School where a young man was shot next to the school after the basketball game. Well, maybe like a week ago. I'm trying to think.
That was like last Friday or something.
Yeah.
Barely a week ago.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Ain't no rules. You know what I'm saying? So when did New Era Detroit come into existence, like officially?
August 17th, 2014 was day one for us. You know, I'm big on organizing, so you know, people like ask all the time, well, you know, are you an activist or I'm an organizer? You know what I mean? My goal is to be put myself in a position to be an organizational specialist, you know, for the streets. Like, we got to be able to organize. Everything that we do has to have a certain level of organization, strategy, you know, with programming, like just being able to bring resources back to the block, all of those things, man. Like, we have to all be on code, you know, from politics to the business sector to the streets. It all has to connect. So to be able to organize these things and, you know, get people to understand, like, you know, we not just doing something for our people as an event or a tradition. I feel like that's the worst thing that we got going for ourselves right now as people. Every single year, we going to do some traditional shit, some eventful shit, and it has not got us anywhere, you know, and people are really going around saying, I'm doing for my community and I'm doing this, and the community ain't showing no fucking growth nowhere. And it's like, okay, if is this the way that we do for our community? Are we doing this for self? You know what I mean? Or are we really trying to figure out a way to really move something around here? And it's like, if we really want anything to change, we have to make it a lifestyle. It got to be something like, if you want to lose weight, you can't just say, okay, I'm going to go to the gym, you know, quarterly, you know, once a quarter or something like that. You got to say, I'm going to commit myself and make it a lifestyle to go work out. It's no different when we talk about the community. We got to be able to put in time, energy, work, and make it a lifestyle. You can't, you know, just think of how crazy people look, bro, waiting all year long to give kids toys in December. Cold ass December. Dark at 5:00, December.
Here go your bike.
Here go basketball, there go football. You know, like, and this is what we do. We're going to give kids all the toys in the world, but throughout the summer, there's kids sitting on the block, sitting in the neighborhood that needs shit to do. You feel me? Like, they need something to do. So, you know, even with us, like, we've started a Toys in the Hood. We run that all year. Like, this year, we did Toys in the Hood. I did this in maybe about 8 other cities too this year. But we did Toys in the Hood. We fill up a U-Haul. We're going to buy all of that, basketballs, footballs, hula hoop, jump ropes, water toys, like, just, and whatever we can fill up, man. And when we go to the hoods, it's like we going door to door. We already building a relationship with the community. This is our hood to hood program too. This our community engagement resource program. I like to call it like a mobile block party. You know, because we be turned for real. Like, we got DJ.
I really be out here in the community.
Yeah. Like, you change things through, movement, through feel, through energy, through vibrations. And it's just like, we got to be able to turn the energy around. It's just so gloomy. It's like every time we think of, our blocks and our hoods, it's like, oh man, this happened or that happened. And it's just like, we have to change the energy. We got to raise the vibrations. It's low vibrations going on right
when
now.
the kids see it, that gives those impressions, that it plants that seed.
Yeah,
it plants that seed for the next generation, because they remember. You can buy kids whatever you want to. They remember things that happen. Mm-hmm. They remember things that impact them. I can buy my kids toys and clothes, but like, they remember trips. They were, I've
experiences.
I've talked about it here on the show. When me and their mother separated, I was dead broke. Like, I wasn't making a lot of money. Now I got 3 young kids, everything in the house on myself. And I remember when I get paid, my big thing, I'd take them to Del Taco and get some tacos. For me, that extra $20 was killing me, but I could get enough food for us to eat, some drinks, and have a good time. And I remember, just like maybe a year or two, not even that long, my daughter, who's 17, she's like, remember how much fun we used to have going to get tacos? And I had to explain to her, like, baby, I was poor. Like, I was poor as fuck. Like,
That's
we
real.
went to Del Taco and got cheap because the tacos was 89 cents. That's why we could get 10, and that's why everybody got something to drink, because I could feed all 4 of us for $20 and still maybe I would feed us, and then like there was a dollar show like right around the corner. Like, I would eat first because I couldn't afford popcorn and the feeders. So we would go eat first, then go to the dollar show and watch whatever's out. And that was a good Sunday for me.
Yeah, for sure.
That sounds like a brother that make it work. That's why I feel like it's no excuse, man. It's just like, it's no excuse, bro. Like, when you got kids, and that's another thing for men, bro. We need to stop all that soft shit, you feel me? You got kids, bro. Like, you gonna do whatever it takes, dog. Like, you gonna make it happen, man. And just hearing that story, like, that's the true definition. You feel me? Like, that's king shit, you feel me?
I could never imagine not doing for them. Like, it regardless of the relationship with me and their mothers, whether love or whatever didn't work out, I could never imagine, like, I feel like a lot of guilt because I'm not in the home with my kids. They, spread where they are, and they're not growing up with me like I grew up with my father and my mother in the same house. So like, maybe in some areas I try and overcompensate, but when I look at it, like, they my babies. That's all I got. They are my legacy. They are the only thing that I have in life. And while they may not understand the magnitude of that, like, I would lay down my life and give everything that I had in me for them to live and have, a better existence than me. Like, if it's between me having and them going without, then I'm gonna go without every single time. I just got back into a place where financially I feel comfortable. Like, but I've gone years without buying myself shoes. I've gone years like, look, this coat gonna have to last 2-3 years because they growing at the rate that they growing, and they just need things. And how do I tell them, no? Like, how do I tell them, I see you growing out of your clothes, but I want to go out this weekend and do something. Like, to me, that never made sense.
Sacrifice and that discipline.
And I always saw my dad sacrifice. And I never forget, my father didn't get a brand new car until after my mother had passed. She had like a newer car. He sold her car back to the dealership and got his truck. And I would always hear him complain about wanting a new car, like literally for like, since I was like 16, 17. Now, at the time, I had probably 2-3 cars before I was able to get in a position where I could afford like a finance note. My sister had 3 or 4 cars. My mother had 2 or 3 cars. And I would always hear him complaining about wanting a new car. And when he finally got his car, I just remember how happy and how proud he was. And and it was close to when he was retiring. So I remember helping him out, like looking at bills and things, like when he was starting to get to plan his retirement after my mother passed. And he was telling me, like, I'm kind of scared to retire because all I know is working. I don't know if I'm gonna bring home enough. And like, when we started crunching the numbers, I'm like, man, you're gonna make more sitting at home than you are going to work every day. So he went out and got his truck. And I just remember, I said, like, Dad, with the money you had coming in, like, you probably could have got a truck 5-6 years ago. He was like, but your mama got to get around to work. Y'all got to get around. He was like, you got a bunch of kids. Like, you need to get, like, you may need my help at one point and may need to get around. And even like towards
Silent
his last
sacrifice.
days, he was still sacrificing to make sure that like everybody was straight. Now I'm early 30s late 20s, early 30s at this point, and now he just like, I made it enough where I can do what I want for me. And like, I always looked at that level of sacrifice. Like my old man, I always say like, he ain't make excuses. He just made shit happen. And that's like what I grew up with. And he always told me like, I don't do what's popular around here. I do what's right for this family. And he's like, when you have a family of your own, you'll do the same thing. And I find myself like, yeah, do I make decisions that everybody like, oh, this, we all happy? No, because if shit go wrong, who they blaming? Me. And they expect shit to go right. So you don't get nothing when the shit goes how it's supposed to.
Right.
But if something go, nigga, my furnace went out the day before Christmas. After I bought gifts, after I got money set aside that I'm going to give to the kids tomorrow on Christmas, my furnace is out. Christmas is tomorrow. I can't dig into the money I've already promised my children for Christmas.
We gotta make it happen.
I just got to figure it the fuck out because they coming to see me tomorrow afternoon and they can't come into a cold ass house. So you just figure the shit out. And parenting is so much about sacrifice.
I mean, I guess last week's episode was about the personal accountability, and it's like it don't matter why you didn't do it. You didn't do it. Like I don't need an excuse about why this didn't happen. That's shit for you. You make a promise. You just got to do it and shit. Like there's no other option. But those silent sacrifices, that's what it's all about. And then question as far as like when New Era Detroit and stuff. Matter of fact, before that, one of the things y'all used to do or do that I enjoy and I participated in when y'all did the cash mobs at black businesses.
Yeah.
Every time y'all put that in there, I want to go patronizing these businesses, and I've been messing with.
I just had that liquor store that I saw y'all posting up with the young ladies on it.
Yeah. We was just out. I'm literally just coming from that. Like before I got here, we doing on patrols on the weekends now, just trying to stay visible, moving around and paying special attention to black owned businesses. But yeah, like that's definitely. Man,
I ain't stopped going to Pasta Bowl since the first time. I think that the location that we went to initially was the one on in Southfield, but they 6 Mile location. Yep. I ended up moving like a block away from. Man, I don't live over there anymore, but every time I'm on the off day, I'm going to them because like why one the barbecue mac and cheese, the barbecue chicken mac and cheese is fire. So get that, but like. It was a bunch of places that I hadn't heard of. I'm like, let me go try it out. I mean, and like that just, man, I assume that it does a lot for a small business if you just get an influx of people in there spending money in the community. And when that happens to you, they're like, well, I want to go spend this money somewhere else. And it's a cyclical effect. So I really appreciate y'all doing that and put me on a bunch of different places. And then I start recommending like, hey, you been to Pasta Bowl and immensely supportive, especially being a small business. Like, you know how difficult it be. Yeah. And guess what? It don't matter what happened. Clients want their stuff. You know what I'm saying? So a little bit of love from the community, it go a long way. So I appreciate y'all doing that.
Yeah, big shout out to Moo too. She the owner of Pasta Bowl. Super dope, man. I got a great relationship with a lot of business owners in the city of Detroit, man. We've been, doing stuff for just black people that's doing stuff. Our goal is always to, support as much as we possibly can. And, with all of our programs, so that's a program of ours that we still do. We got our schedule for this year too. We doing the first weekend of every month. The first weekend is gonna be by Black Tour weekend. So we'll be having different businesses this year, but that's one of those programs. We've been running for some years now. Yeah.
We'll make sure to highlight them on the pod too.
Absolutely. But, when you mention that, but on the flip side of that end, one thing I've always seen about you is that you're very vocal. Mm-hmm. It's no problem with raising your voice and saying what needs to be said. And I remember when we were looking at different locations to move the studio to, it always stood in the back of my mind about the issue there with Greenfield Plaza. And typically when we had guests come through, I always text them, don't go to Greenfield Plaza.
Yeah,
because
everybody go.
People see the
we
address.
send them the address and they
that's
go.
The first. Let me tell you, brother, something. That's the first thing I looked at when you said y'all was over in this area. Because I was like, I'm about to have to, I regret to, inform these brothers that I'm not going to be able to make that podcast because I don't go to the plantation.
Yeah. I went in there before because we was spending money with the white man. And then we figured out, like, let's open up our own spot.
And it was always getting that audio back late. And it was always something a little iffy with the business.
And when I went in there, they wanted, they was asking for too much money. The same guy from the video, I just didn't, he ain't say nothing out the way to me, but like I ain't like the energy. You feel me? You can tell when somebody not interested or no one don't respect you or.
That's the word, bro. The respect is not there. It's not there for, people, our people in particular who, give him all of his money. You feel me? That's a predominantly black business besides the jury floor, of course, but, predominantly black businesses in there. That's the reason you able to live the way you live and the respect, I just off bail. Like it was, that energy was off bail. And yeah, we gave him a little headache, bro. Like for real, because they was trying to act. I got a crazy story about Greenfield Plaza, man. Like, even when doing all of that, like they tried to act when we had went up there twice.
Mm-hmm.
The first time we went up there, it was just, maybe like 15 of us all brothers. We went up there. And the original, what originally happened, I had went up there one day after hearing about a lot of different things going on, a lot of situations going on up there. I had a guy that was doing some stuff for me up there, so I was going in there to holler at him real quick, and I had parked my truck, out front, and dog just tripping in the hallway, like, who truck is this, yada yada blase, like just loud, like I heard him from where I was at, but I was like, dog tripping. I wasn't even really paying no attention, like, so I was taking my time to do what I had to do, so. I'm going, he don't know who I am. He don't know nothing. You feel me? But the disrespect, as far as, raising his voice and, you could just tell in his tone that he owned and he ran this. You feel me? And it was just like no respect for none of you niggas.
You got to respect for me.
Like I have no respect for none of you niggas. That was his energy. So, we came back really the next day and it was about 15 of us. And so our thing was like, okay, now we about to go talk to black businesses because there's always strategy behind when we do stuff like that because people twist stuff and it's hard for us to be able to stand up and, to hold people accountable because there's always loopholes to make you look like, the thug, the gang, oh, y'all, sure. They some thugs coming up here doing this. And that'd be the first thing, to like get bad public opinion on you. And drown that. Like people tried that from a lot of different angles. It didn't work. But we went up there and we was talking to a lot of different businesses up there. He ended up bumping into us. It was an altercation up there. The police came up there. And long story short, bro, after the altercation and after everything happened, the police gonna tell us, Oak Park police, it was like, you know who this guy is. You know what I mean? They said that this guy is like the Tony Soprano of Oak Park. I can't make this shit up. He said, if I was y'all, I wouldn't mess with this guy. If I was y'all, I would leave whatever you got going on. I would leave it alone. So that's what he told us when we came the first day. So I was like, cool. I ain't go to sleep the whole night, bro. I'm like, the audacity of him to say like
the police
to say like this guy's the Tony Soprano of Oak Park, like. Leave them alone, like, bro. You feel me? Like, and that's the way these people look at us though, because they don't have no respect for us because we don't demand it on ourselves. Absolutely. People don't step up when it's time to step up and get, you feel me, flex our muscle. So what we do the very next day, show up 150 people. You feel me? Like all black, parked in Detroit, walked all the way down, formation, single file line, all black on code. Everybody shut off the entrance. Wasn't nobody getting in there that day. So, you know, we caused big issues, and we forced a lot of different black businesses to leave too. You know, when we did that, man, like not everybody left, which is unfortunate. You know, that's the hardest, you know, part of doing this type of work. It's like people nowadays are so, you know, they so used to not being on code that they don't know how to get on code. You feel me? So it's just like, you know, we had one guy that was so disappointed because we wouldn't let him in. He like, this guy paid my bills. And the way he was just like, you know, straight coon shit. Like, y'all talking, you don't know it's black businesses in here. This guy helped me pay my bills, not thinking about the bigger picture that, you know, it's a daycare downstairs with little black babies that hear this man talk to, you know, people that look like them in a certain way and, you know, use certain language and, you know, move in a certain, you know, manner. You're not even thinking about that as a black man. You're thinking about, once again, what we just talked about, you're thinking about you. So, you know, for us, it's always been about respect, bro, and letting people know, like, in this city, at this time, as long as we around, if it's something that's going to pop off, bro, we going to get the respect that we need. And from that, you know, you figure out ways to work with people so that we can get power. That's the ultimate goal. We don't have no power as black people. We the dominant population in the city of Detroit with no power, like none. And it's like you can't get power if you don't even got fucking respect. If people don't even respect you, how you supposed to be people of power? So our thing is, that was step one. Earlier on, I saw you seen a lot of that stuff. It was about getting our respect. So once we got our respect, okay, let's get to the business of what we doing. You know, let's make this make sense. Now we focus in on us. You know, it's not about them no more, but it's about letting them know that where y'all at and who we are and the power that we do possess. But everything else from here on out is about us. It's about what we do. And
that was one of the first viral moments that I saw with New Era Detroit. And the other one is kind of like what we kind of started the pod talking about today. It was a incident at a popular mega church, the same church that invited Donald Trump to the city of Detroit. The same church that if you go online, you can see the pastor laying on another man, and like it's some weird stuff going on, some real weird ritualistic stuff. He's a big name. He has a famous son. But like it's a video of like him laying on another. It's just weird stuff that goes on. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to disparage the man, but so there are some mega churches, right? That like a full city block, and people will pull up in a Bentley and live in mansions and all the other stuff in one of the poorest cities in the country. And we had a conversation a couple of weeks ago. I don't think because you're a pastor, you shouldn't make money. You feel me? I don't think that's the case. If this what you do, that's what you do. Cool. But I do think it's something wrong when you make money off of poor people and you just see them weekly and they give you everything. And all you give me, prosperity preaching, you know what I'm saying? So there was an incident where I interrupted a service. Can you tell me like the thought process? What started that? Like, what did somebody come to y'all like, yo, what's going on down here? Or how did that kick off?
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot. The backstory to that is just extremely long, man. It was just one of those things to where a lot of times, you know, when we get stuff that come across our desk, it's like a lot of people, you know, bring it to the square. So numerous people bring it up like, okay, here's an issue here, it's an issue here. So we laid on it, we stated it. I don't know how familiar y'all are with Dow's Go-Kart. Y'all familiar? Dow's?
No.
See, this is wild right here. So Dow's Go-Kart, they closed now. They like recently closed. We actually did a Buy Black tour there too. It was one of the kind of connect the dots to the back end story.
You said Go-Kart?
Go-Kart, bro.
On the one in the hood on, I think it was on Greenfield or Plymouth area?
Nope, on Oakman, right next to Wayne T Church.
Okay. Now I know what you're talking about now. Back in the day, somebody took me there on like a little outing. So I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Grand River and Oakman, right over there. It was like one of the only places in the city of Detroit where, you know, kids can go-karting and stuff like that. So they've been over there for some time too. Like my old dude, he knew about it. He said they was over there like back in the day type stuff. So, but the real backstory is when we first went over there, I was just looking like, you know, you could tell like the business was on its way out the door. So they didn't have no support. You know, the go-karts was, you know, kind of
long in the tooth.
Yeah. So, you know, I look at that and then literally, yeah, you could ride over there today. You'll still see the remnants of it. You know, literally right next to it is this huge mega church. And then I'm looking like, you get to looking around in that whole community, bro. It's like, you know, where we at right now? You know what I mean? And then they had a situation with them to where they were like not supportive of the business, to say the least. Even going a step further and saying, you know, that they were even blocking them on certain instances. You know, in certain situations, like they believed that the church when they first came, took some of their land, as far as how much property they owed. And they put that big ass parking, you know, that parking lot back there and gated it off. So they was going back and forth with them, and they would intimidate them and just do all type of just big man, like little guy, we big man thing. And a lot of times in things that we do, it's that type of situation. It's always like, oh, the big man, like we want them. You feel me? Like the people that feel like they can't be touched, and it's nobody that's going back or support. Like, you know, the small voices, you know, the people that you think you could just run over. Like, I love that, bro. Like, that's when I turn up the most, because it's like, we on your head. Like, nobody, like, none of us, nobody is untouchable. You feel me? So, but somebody gonna have somebody that have their back. But with that situation, just so happened the timing of it is when the whole Donald Trump thing was happening too. So, you know, when he had Trump come to the church, and it was just like, just for stunt. Like, you know, at the time we was like, no, we don't want dog here in the city. Like, wasn't nobody really trying to get him to come do no fake press release in the city. Like, you don't, you know, like you ain't been here before. Like, bro, like what you doing here? So people wasn't feeling that. So ironically, that day it was an orchestrated protest. And it's just like, protest with me is just, I never understood. Like, some of them are beneficial. Let me not say that, but for me, it's just like something orchestrated to where I'm going to put the date out there, the time that we're going to come and we're going to do something. It never made sense to me. Like, even all the stuff that we did, including what we talking about with the church, Greenfield Plaza, that was pop-up shit. Like, you going about your day and what's up? We outside.
Yeah, I don't want you to plan for me.
So, like, you don't know nothing. Like, we way more effective. Once again, it goes back to organization. Like, you got to be able to organize that type of stuff. But with that situation, we was able to, a day before, everybody was out there. So you had other pastors from the city and activists in the city. Everybody was out there, so much so that they brought the horse out there and tried to ride. Like, you had all the fake activists, they pulling on the gates like they about to get in the church, right? Like, they about to storm in the church when Trump was up in there. So I'm out there, get to see that with my eyes. And so when we orchestrated what we were going to do, and the goal was always just to bring light to people of what's going on. But we the day that we went up there, we never imagined that it was gonna be like that, bro. Like, to say the least, bro. I've never been to a mega church, right? Yeah. Like that. Like, I didn't grow up in the mega church, and, you know, I never really seen what it looks like inside one of the boys. And it's like Broadway. It was like like they had the lights. It was just like, dog.
It's a production.
It was a production, but, you know, the message, it was just nothing felt right in there. It was very strange, to say the least. So, you know, when we went and did what we did, it was always to disrupt the service, man. It was like, disrupt the service. And let people
essence
talk.
Of protest.
Yeah, and let people ask why. You know, and we don't even call it. That's how we demonstrate, right? Yeah. So we use the term demonstration. So for us, it's like, okay, yeah, people going, well, why did y'all do that? Okay, well, now that y'all listening,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? This is the reason that we did what we did. And it's just like, I feel, you know, we got some, you know, pushback from that, you know what I mean? Like, it was expected. I knew that going in. That was one of those things. It was very risky. Took a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of thought went into doing that, because when you talk about religion, we never wanted anybody to think that we were attacking religion.
Yeah.
You know, I believe that people should, you know, believe in whatever they want to believe in. So I'm never, you know, it's never an attack on religion, but, you know, it's an attack on principles. You know, it's an attack on morals. It's an attack on those type of things. Like, come on, you know, you live in one of the poorest. I mean, you have a church in one of the poorest areas in the city of Detroit. You pulling a $500,000 vehicle up to that boy every single day. You selling bottled holy water. You feel me? Like, you got videos, like you say, dog, out here humping and grinding. And it's just like, for me, I'm with you. Like, one of y'all brothers said, pastors, I don't care about, you know, the money-making aspect of church. It is a business, you know what I mean? Like anything. So I just want to make sure that if you are in the business of telling people that I'm going to be in a position to help, and then just historically, Black churches have always been a pillar in the community to help people.
Yeah.
Outside of everything else that people think it is now, but the Black church was always the pillar of help as well as hope in Black communities. So, you know, to be able to put that type of energy in, man, like I got a lot of love and respect for Pastor Kenlock over there at Triumph. A lot of respect for how that man moved. You feel me? Like, he got a lot of churches. You know, I don't know what if he could be considered like a mega church preacher or whatever. But I mean, I haven't seen a more humble individual when it comes to people, and, you know, the things that he do to help people in the community, and, you know, like the things that I've been able to see with my own two eyes of the money that, because, you know, they make some good money at Triumph.
For sure.
Yeah.
But the amount of money that they put back out in the streets, man, and the amount of people that man helped behind the scenes, man, and not just behind the scenes, out in front of the scenes. That's another thing. It's like, it's one thing that everybody's saying, well, you know, stuff that I do. People need to see that like they see all the rest of the shenanigans. That's why we record everything that we do. You feel me? It's like, oh, well, y'all trying to show. No, yeah, we while y'all looking at them booty pics, you about to slide through some real stuff too on the net. You feel me? It got to be a balance of what we looking at, what our minds tapped into. So, but just that, brother, man, I really got a lot of respect, and I feel like if pastors who, you know, made that type of income as a church business, you should be able to put more into the community that you serve, man. And that's just like, I don't feel like that's asking for a lot. You know what I mean? We're not telling you not to live in a nice house and do nice things, but that $500,000 car got to match some $500,000 of work that you're doing in the community.
And on the business tip, you should take care of your customers so they can come back and continue to patronize your business. Because if you didn't look out for, like, if I'm in the rut and you was the thing that kept me from going over, I'm gonna always love and respect that. Oh, you know, when 20 years ago, Pastor such and such took it, like, my family it just seemed like it'd be a smart idea business wise to take care of the community that you in, so then they can continue.
But the church and the community, like you said, should run hand in hand. I remember knowing somebody personally who was in a bind. You know, they about to lose their home, phone about to get, like, they were at the edge. They went to the church and said, you know how they always say the benevolent offering is to help out, you know, people in the community. They went to the church. There's a form you had to fill out. The church would look over the form, approve it, and they gave her the money. She was able to stay in her apartment. She was able to keep the lights on. You know, the church paid whatever past due balance and then gave her enough money for like another month or two to help get her on her feet. And like, that's the thing that I look for, or I think is important, because it's easy to get up there and preach prosperity. The Lord gonna do this for you. God gonna give you a new car. God gonna give you a new house. Well, until the new car and the new house come,
I'm struggling.
I got to make it. You know what I'm saying? I got to get these kids to school. They need uniforms. They need book bags. What's the in between still got to make it until the blessing come. And that's what you should. If I'm and I'm not just talking like some fly by night shit, but like I'm a member of this church. I come, I pay my tithes, my family been a member here. Like I need help. The church should be the first place I look to for help in a dire situation.
I was talking to somebody earlier this week. Your kids get allowance?
No, I feel a way about an allowance. I don't mind giving money.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna pay you to do some shit you're supposed to do around my house. You're not gonna get money for taking the trash out.
I used to get allowance. My allowance was $5, right? When I was younger, and my mom made
living
me
high on a horse.
And my mom made me. She made me tied
out that
50 cents every week. You know what I'm saying? I would slide my little 50 cent in there. You know what I'm saying? But she was trying to teach, this is what you do. So like from this small age, I'm giving my money to this church, and the regular offering plate that come through, you throw your $1 in there. You know what I'm saying? So $1.50 a week out of my $5 went back to the church. It's a large percentage of money. You feel me? I got up to $10. You know what I'm saying? And then it was But what I'm saying,
10%.
If I'm in a bind, I've been paying since I was a small child. I got to high school, things change. But when you start getting when the job start taking taxes out your check, I'm like, God got here.
No, that's not how it works.
I feel like though, for real, even some of the mega churches, I feel like if you're not taking care of at least your members, I don't even understand that. But I feel like a lot of the mega churches do, try to take care of their members, like especially their most prominent members. But really, church isn't about that. It isn't about the people that you're able to get through those doors. Once again, we talk about community. What about the people that you can't get through those doors that need help? What about a plan to help the area as a whole and not just people? I mean, people going to have problems all the time. Like I know firsthand as being one of the leading organizations in the city, like we get calls every single day, man. Like, we did that the Hotel for Homeless event, man, when we was able to buy out a whole hotel for people living out on the streets, and had a whole day where we had people in there with resources, so working on long-term situations and things of that nature. But we did that back a couple of months ago, and we still getting people every single day who out on the street that need help. So it's just like, people really do need help out here, and it's just like we can't help every single person, but the work that we're doing is going to be able to help the community as a whole.
We should get somebody a blueprint.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up, because those first two incidents that we talked about had a certain connotation to them via social media. But over the years, I've seen the relationship between the organization and the local media, and to a certain extent, the national media change. Because of, in my opinion, because of consistency, right? Because we're not doing this just for some views or whatnot. Like, we are consistently there.
And I seen you in videos telling we don't give a damn about being on TV. Like, it's
I'm like that for real though, bro. Like, I'm the same person in every single room. You know what I mean? And I only turn up like that for real. Like, so when people meet me, they always expect like this. Think about the turn up. I'm real cool. Like, this is who I am, but I'm passionate about like what I do. So like, don't play with my people. Don't play with me. I feel like we gotta have that energy. Like, that's good leadership to me. Like, don't play with us type shit, because that's what we on. Like, once again, go back to the respect. So that's why it's a difference now. Like, at first, once again, the first thing we had to do before we can even get ourselves in position to be in rooms, with people making decisions, is get the respect that we need as people. And that don't look like, hey, how y'all doing? And can we please?
You don't
sit
ask
down?
for respect.
No, you got to be a dog. Like what bro say? You got to have that dog in you.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like you got to, because that's the only time people gonna respect you. That's the respect comes. Then after that, admiration comes. Now, I admire the things that you guys are doing. So now, let's talk about some things. But you can't get that. You can't get admiration without respect ever.
You got to make noise. And the noise sometimes may rattle the room, But like, I need the attention. I need to get the eyes on us. And then once I got the eyes on us, I can start to make the significant change that we need. But like,
and it's important that like, we got the eyes, this is the promotion, but the work is here. Because if you got a promo without no work, then it's going to fall, right?
Yeah.
So now the organization has expanded outside of just New Era Detroit. How many new eras are there?
So we in 17 cities right now. And really like we in the midst of like our training. So earlier in the year we do training for other chapters and things of that nature. And every single week we have training, national training, to get everybody on board because it's important for all of our chapters to move the exact same thing, the exact same way. Like we formatting ourselves. It's the same black print in which we created. We got the black print of how we supposed to move in our communities in a year in and a year out basis, what we supposed to do. So that consistency, being able to be consistent, we were able to build structure in the things that we do and just passing that structure down and getting people to understand. Like it's hard because it is more work than what people are used to doing. So, we have it's been a process to say the least, but, people start to understand a bit more, year in, year out. And our job is organized to figure out different ways, to get people, in and make them feel comfortable in doing for their community and for their people. Because you even think about community service, right?
Yeah.
Most people be like, well, they doing community service.
Yeah, because
what you correlate that to, right?
Jail.
Punishment. Your punishment. Yeah. Punishment. So our people already, subconsciously look at
the only way I'm gonna serve my community is if the government tell me and mandate me to do it.
Yeah, so it's already looked at as punishment. You feel me? To come and do something for your community. So we got to break that mindset. We got to break that stigma. We got to break the corny stigma. When we first started, everybody was like, what you doing, bro? Like people, it was different. It was out the ordinary. Like, this might be a little cheesy, you know what I mean, type. So it's
only cheesy if you faking.
Yeah, but I'm saying like even the way that we're doing. So when we first start and we going door to door, we got to knock on doors. That's not cool. You know what I mean? Like who want to go knock on doors and say, hey, how you doing? Talk to people, introduce themselves. That's not, people like the culture don't look at that and like, oh, that's sweet. I want to do that. But now years later, as we been able to advance the program, so we got a DJ out, we playing their favorite music, we turning up the block, we got food, bunch of resources.
I done seen the faces on them people that y'all brought groceries to.
Yeah.
They don't give a fuck how it look.
Yeah.
I needed this food.
That's right. But to get people, so the goal is always, once again, long term. So how do we connect this to be something that the culture accepts? Because ultimately, that's what needs to happen in order for it to be successful long term. The culture, it has to catch on and be cultural. So for us, we got to put ourselves in a position to say, okay, well, we create now what's cool. So now we want to make this the cool thing to do. Like it's not no longer corny to move like how we move. And I think that's big. I think a lot of people looked at it like that originally. I ain't go front like, oh yeah, I think they doing something nice, but it don't look like what I want to do. Our goal is to make this look like something you want to do, so you can feel what we doing and feel it enough to say this is something that I want to do on my own to make it a lifestyle.
One thing that I really love when I see you all do is just how something impacts the community y'all there. When that young boy got shot by his neighbor, y'all went out there immediately to address the issue, to apply pressure on the situation.
And ask questions. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all go out there and ask, let me find out what really happened.
Yeah, always. Every situation, man, we hit the streets and the streets gonna talk. That's what I'm saying. Like, we really trying to force that no snitching, whole stigma out the window, especially when it comes to, and particularly, let me get my words, when it comes to women and kids, bro. Like, kids, it should be, we don't keep secrets about niggas who kill kids, bro. You feel me? Like,
we don't protect them.
We don't protect them. We don't keep secrets about it. That's not cool. The same way you would look at a pedophile, somebody touching kids, you look at somebody
ostracized in society.
The same way. So, changing that code and, things of, innocent people, bro. Like, I don't care about, we not in the business to say, oh, we about to change the world and stop the violence. That's why I never get behind stop the violence campaigns. You know, the violence is here. This is the United States of America. You're not going to change the violence in this country. But what you can do is contain it and have a certain level of code to control it. And that's where we need to get at. Like, you can't kill kids, bro. Like that, that's my dying thing, bro. I'm going to the grave fighting for that, bro. Like, if you kill a kid, bro, like everybody on your head, bro. Like everybody.
Got to smoke them out. You know, you mentioned something about that stop snitching shit. And I got a good partner of mine. He teach law in Chicago. And as part of his, you know, I guess kind of give back, he talks to like a lot of mentoring groups, so like young black boys in the city, you know, just about law, the legal process. If you get arrested, what you can expect is going to happen, what it looks like, not the sexy part that you see on Law and Order, but like what's really going to happen. And one of the things that he always joked with us about, he said that snitching shit don't exist. Mm-hmm. He said, because people are civilians. You know, the small pocket that consider themselves gangsters of the street are a very small part of the community. He said, Miss Johnson that been living on the block for 35 years don't feel comfortable knowing that some nigga that shot somebody is 2 houses down from her. She talking to the police.
And Miss Johnson should feel safe in her community to do so.
Yeah.
Now, when she don't feel safe by talking, that's an indication of another area. You know what I'm saying? The few should not be dictating everything for the many.
But he was like, it's just the matter of fact that people talk. You know, me and you joke all the time. The police solve crimes every day because people in the community talk.
I just go on the internet and look at the comments.
And that's the reason that, like, I'm so against it, because it don't exist. It's fake. You know what I mean? Like, look at what's going on with, you know, Thug and Gunna and all them. You feel me?
Everybody's talking.
Like, it's there, bro. Like, it's all a facade, man. It's like all a facade. And when stuff like this happens, it's good for the kids to see. It's like, look, like the stuff, like these people be swearing to God that they gonna stand on stuff.
28 people arrested, 14 already put in pleas.
Come on, bro.
And these are people that claim that they're your friends. Mm-hmm. When they start talking them football numbers, 20, 30, 10 years, people start like...
That's what stopped the mob.
It makes it a little bit different.
Legitimately.
When you're looking at not coming home, you know, everybody say like when you sign up for some gangster shit, you know what you're getting into. Yeah, it's cute to say. But like when you really looking at not seeing your kids grow up, I got a partner of mine that just did 20 years. He got arrested the summer after we graduated 8th grade, did a complete 20-year stretch, and just came home maybe about 3 years ago. And like to see, you know, it's
a whole new world since then, dog. Look, that was 96, 97?
He killed 2 men the summer after we graduated 8th grade. I remember about 10th grade or so, he, you know, all these things went through with court, and he actually went up to the penitentiary. When we saw him after he got out, after doing the complete 20 years, there was no parole, probation. He did 20 years. When we saw him, we went to hand him a cell phone because somebody that we knew from back in 8th grade knew he was out, wanted to connect with him. We went to hand him an iPhone, and he was like, I don't know what to do with this. Like literally, like, where the buttons at? How do I work it? Because he had been so... Like, literally, he's away from the world.
Cell phones was 2 of these water bottles stacked on top of each other in 96. You feel me? Man, it's not a thing. I was watching some former mob members talking and shit, you know what I'm saying, on this podcast.
Everybody
or whatever.
tells.
But, like, what changed is, like, the federal government start changing the numbers. Like, it wasn't, we do this, so we'll be home in 5-6 years. Like, somebody take that, right? But no,
because you got a release date. You know when you're coming home.
Yo, they not taking. When Sammy the Bull is on podcast and I'm talking about what was going, like, man, I'm not taking 60 years. What? I got a wife and like, that might taking 30 years. That's what ended the mob.
Yeah.
It's not. The laws are different now, man. Laws are different.
They gonna get people in them rooms and they gonna do what they do. But it's just like if we can get people to stop idolizing all the fake gangster shit, because that's the problem. Like everybody looking at those movies, and I always found it ironic that so many black people idolized mobsters. You know what I mean? Like, so many black people idolize mobsters, and it's just like, even the mob, like, they had code. Like, you still, like, not idolizing the best aspects of why, you know, organized crime was so effective back then, because they took care of their communities and they took care of their people. So that's how they were able to last so long, because people wasn't so willing, with lower numbers and sentences, but people wasn't so willing to talk, you know, to people about people who looking out for them. You know what I mean? So I just feel like at the end of the day, you know, the unrealistic world of social media and his phone and, you know, all of that, you know, the more that it's exposed, you know, the better it is for us as teaching lessons, you know. So I can't wait to go back with my mentees and, you know, we talk, because that's what they talking about, you know what I mean? And utilize that as teaching lessons and, you know, putting it in, you know, getting more things implemented inside of their minds as far as reality versus this fictional world, because that's the problem. There's no in-betweens with the youth now. It's like everything is fictional world. Like that is reality. You know, with them.
I like what you said about mentors and mentees, and I've always been a huge proponent of that, because I know for me, you know, I was at a point in my life where I was kind of lost. Mm-hmm. I didn't know, I could have went one way or the other, and I really didn't know what direction, you know, to kind of where my life was going to go. And I remember somebody put me in touch with a mentor, a black businessman in the city, a gentleman by the name of Donald Snyder. He owns a business over off Woodrow Wilson called Paper Plast, where they make like the trays, styrofoam. You know, when you get the things from Coney with the knife, the fork, all of that, they make that there. And you know, for me, I never heard of anything like that. I didn't know who this man was. Somebody put me in touch with him. He said, you know, he liked to help young brothers. Give him a call, come by the office. Called him up, went by the office, and he happened to take a liking for me. And he was like, you know, I want to make sure that we keep this connection and maintain this relationship. And I probably stayed under his wing for about a good 3 or 4 years. And being connected with this man, I was exposed to things that I didn't know were possible. I had never flew private before in my life. I saw it on rap videos and, you know, in movies. But I remember he had a deal on the table where he was going to buy 25 Church's chickens between Detroit, Ohio, and like another Midwest state. I can't think of it off the top of my head. And we had to go meet at the Church's facility in Atlanta. So I remember I was married at the time, so I'm telling my wife, yo, we're going to be gone for a couple of days. Mr. Snyder going to take us down to Atlanta. You know, he told me to get myself prepared. The flight, you know, we're going to leave in the morning. And I'm thinking to myself, commercial flight, we'll be down there a couple of days. I come to City Airport, because this is where my mind is, because I don't know nothing about flying private or a small engine plane. I come to City Airport with a book, you know, packed like I'm gonna be gone for a week. He was like, "What you doing, man?" He was like, "We're going and we're coming back." I said, "We're coming back when?" He's like, "Today. I got plans for dinner later on." And I had never experienced it. I just didn't know it was real. We leave. We in Atlanta. We leave 8:00. We in Atlanta before 10. We do all our business, our moving and shaking. They took us around Atlanta, showed us the operations of like what a typical day on the corporate end of churches look like, and what it's like actually running and owning one. We had lunch at Popeye's Chicken, and then we flew back to Detroit.
That's actually pretty hilarious, actually.
I remember the guy from Churches took us to Popeye's for lunch. And
I want to buy this business no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not even going to feed me the food? You'll go to our competitor?
But they wanted us to show, like, and I understand now they did it for the reason to show, like, the differences between what they do and how they run business and how their competition runs business. Yeah, it would have been cheaper for him to buy these Popeye franchises, but like, this is what you get working with us as opposed to working with them. And literally, like, when I came back home at like 5:00, she like, so you just lying to me? I'm like, nah, baby. I've been in Atlanta all day, and I'm just coming back to Detroit now.
Yeah, that's amazing.
But I didn't know those things were possible unless I had a mentor around. And like, you know, this man didn't know me from a can of paint. Somebody literally passed the number to me, told him about me. that like, you know, I was kind of trying to figure out shit. I had a young family. It was before I had my daughter, my oldest girl. So like, you know, I'm early 20s, 22, 23. You know, he put his hand or put his arm around me just based off a recommendation for somebody else and like, you know, pulled me into his inner circle to show me like these things are possible. Like, you know, he shared with me something really crazy about his story that always stuck with me, especially as I like moved up in business. He said, you know, I worked in the gas station up until I was 36 years old, like a cashier. He said, because he said I was a young single father. I had he had like 3 kids at the time, and he wanted to be at home with his kids when they got out of school, and he wanted to be able to take them to school. So he said, you know, he lived with like his sister or something at the time. She would stay. No, the kids are asleep at night. He would work at the gas station from like 9 o'clock to like 6 in the morning. He'd get off at 6, take the kids to school, get a little rest, be up in enough time to get them together, to pick them up from school, make them dinner, and then get them settled for the evening, then go back to work. And he said he did this up until he was 34, 36, somewhere in that window, and like how broke he was throughout that whole point, but the sacrifice of being there with his kids, and he always knew that like something better would come along. He said when he first started his business, he didn't have no plant, he didn't have a building, not nothing. He was outsourcing all of the work in order to make like the paper and the plastic products. And like a business he was working with, he was like, we're not paying you to outsource, we paying you to make it. So he had to like literally figure it out from nothing in order to make the plant work. He's like, he, you know, was leveraging like his home and his car at the time in order to get loans from the bank just to get a small business operation off the ground. And now, you know, it's a fully run big business operation.
You should bring him on the pod.
Yeah, I will reach out to him. But like now it's a fully functional, you know, business. He has several other businesses that he runs, but like, you know, you look at businessmen when they're on top and you just think like, oh, it's always been that way. I came from money. Somebody helped me. But like he literally was just like a single father struggling until he actually made something.
That's amazing. Zeek, what I wanted to mention, or for folks who not familiar, a couple of things that I saw over the years. We talked about a couple of joints. There was incidents in gas stations where the clerks come from behind the counter and either put their hands on or shoot people, unfortunately. And I've seen the community rally behind you in your organizations, going up to the different gas stations, shutting them down. Like no one's doing business here. I've seen, you talked about it when the gentleman shot the little boy, showing up there. I know y'all do patrols in the communities, in the neighborhoods. I know you guys were big in the water crisis, you know what I'm saying, in Flint, connecting with different athletes. I know y'all tapped in with Steven Jackson, a whole bunch of different things. Back in the day, years ago, I sent a message because like I didn't necessarily like the way that y'all were being portrayed, you know, in the media, but what y'all doing inside of the community here, I know it's a New Era Chicago, New Era Baltimore. Y'all was somewhere in Africa with a New Era. Like the work that y'all doing is so appreciated and it's so needed. And I'm glad that y'all finally the media. Matter of fact, you met with the governor last week.
Yeah, oh yeah, at our crib. I was up there.
How did that come about? I almost forgot. Like you literally met with the governor last week.
Yeah, so the governor got this thing where she invite black leadership up to her residence, and it should be supposed to talk about some of the issues and some of the things. That's how I took it. Yeah. At least, you know what I mean. So I come up there and I got like my notebook and I'm writing down. I went up there earlier. Oh no, we got to address this. Oh no, we got to. So like my whole agenda is going up there, basically politicking, being, going up there for my constituents. You feel me? For the streets, being a voice of, representation. And, you get in these rooms, bro, and you see like the people that, like when you finally get to these rooms, you see the people that's in the rooms and you see like the motion that's in the rooms. And it's just like, I was one of the youngest people that was in the room. I was like one of the only people that looked like me, in the room. I mean, everybody was my skin complexion, but it was just like,
yeah,
I really understand now, like, the importance and the weight that, a position like mine do hold, bro, to be able to, like, be able to connect those dots, man, in a way and make people be able to respect the process in which that happens. So I was actually able to have a good conversation with the governor, put her aside to talk about business, the business of, I don't care about the damn roads, you feel me? Like, that ain't got nothing to do with us. But, what I do care about is, the educational process in the state of Michigan, how babies are being taught, getting you to understand that schools are not only academic institutions, but social institutions. Figuring out different ways to work on that aspect so that kids can learn, get more programs like that's connected to the streets. And once again, no knock on like boys and girls clubs and stuff like that, but we've been doing that for a while, get my pitch in to switch the game up so that we can get different type of ideas, new, fresher things that focus in on the core issues that go on in the community. Hey, look, I'm a huge advocate for the kids and, not wasting no more time like looking like, okay, we got a decade to raise a whole nother generation of babies. So we got a 1 to 10 thing that we doing right now. So from 1 to 10, that's our target goal, to really do. And I say 1 because when you think about how smart kids are, at infant stage, you learn to walk, you learn how to talk, you learning a language, you learning all of these different things. So many people sleep on those 1, 2, and 3 ages. But even like with my son, he's 5 years old, and I always set him in front of knowledge. So he wasn't in front of like watching grown people stuff, commercials, or even, repetitive kid stuff. But, we had understanding words, he had Spanish on. So now he got he able to do a little bit of that too. Like he got flashes of that, but, really focusing in on, making sure that kids are able to understand and comprehend the world that, is going to be in place for them and how to really, excel in this world. So for me, getting the agenda, like, it has to start in the school. It has to start with not only the children, but the parents too. So more programs for parents. A lot of this generation is kids raising kids. People haven't even, we sit here and we talk about growing up in a 2-family home, but, we are also seeing the results of kids in our generation who didn't grow up with 2-family homes. So understanding some of the things that we may know that they may not have known it. Some of these parents need, courses too as well, along with their kids. But, that's what that conversation was about, the kids, and also public safety too. I'm big on that, man, figuring it out from a perspective of making it make sense. I'm a huge advocate, especially gas stations and liquor stores, man. We have to do something when it comes to these spaces and, in communities, man. You go to the burbs, they shutting down everything. It's 11 o'clock. You can't barely go to a gas station.
Man, when I lived down in Canton, I literally go to work. I'll be making it home 9:30, 10 o'clock sometimes. I can't get nothing to eat on the way home. The only thing that will be open might be a White Castle, but everything else shut down. And I'm talking like Walmart, Meijer, all of that. Nothing is going on.
You made a good point on a video that you posted the other day. It's like, listen, because that young woman lost her life, and it doesn't make sense. And if you can't afford to keep your community safe, then maybe you need to close earlier. Maybe you don't need to be open to accept money from the community to 2 o'clock in the morning if they not safe. Because she was parked damn near at the street. The door. Like, I can't get any closer. Yeah. And it's a major street.
Yeah.
I didn't
right there on Grand River.
Like,
yeah. So yeah, and that's the thing when we think about a lot of these situations that happen with innocent people, right?
Yeah.
So once again, when I speak on, public safety, I'm not talking about gang shit. That's gonna be what it's gonna be. But I'm talking about protecting innocent people. And that woman should have been better protected. You know what I mean? It should have been, somebody, in retrospect, when we send, our wives out to stores, or, our when our mothers are going out and our sisters are going out to these stores, and, the idea is don't be out late, but was 5 o'clock is dark.
It's dark.
You feel me? 6 o'clock is dark. You still moving around. You going to the grocery store. You doing certain things. So it's not like, a lot of people like, well, we shouldn't even need to have to do. Well, it is what it is. It's here. And so opposed to going through another decade of, having certain situations be what they are, let's put ourselves in a situation to figure it out. I don't care, bro. Like when we was younger, it used to be cool that, the liquor store stayed open at 2 o'clock in the morning. They don't need to be open at 2 no more, cuz like if they not a place of safety,
it's a Wednesday night. One
thing about the pandemic showed me, like all the access that we had, like you said, some of this stuff we just don't need. Like, it would be nice and convenient when I could run to Walmart at 2 a.m. But like literally, what I'm buying right now, could it wait till tomorrow afternoon?
Could I bought it earlier? Like,
yeah, it probably could. But we've learned to adjust from that because a lot of these businesses haven't gone back to those hours.
I'm not even mad at like the Walmart thing though. Like a central location, like if it's one thing that's going to be open that we can contain and control, like I'm not mad at that. But having all of these different spots and spaces open when people are in these establishments safely behind bulletproof glass, at midnight, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, have no care and concern for a single woman walking. You don't want to walk her out to her car. None of that. You have no safety measures in place. And I'm just tired of seeing it from a person. I'm speaking from a perspective that this is not my first time in the rodeo. I went to that lady's funeral today. So, to be in a position to see this continuously over and over and over, and people not understanding, oh, well, maybe there is something that we might need to do from a legislation perspective. So, so we talk about things like that, man, and just making sure that we're able to get the adequate resources, the funding that come in for the state of Michigan for Black communities. We need to make sure that is coming back to Black communities, and even getting in the nonprofit game, because we weren't a nonprofit. I've been doing this for 8 years. We just recently, over the past couple of years, has become a nonprofit. So everything that we've been able to do has been self-sustainable. I mean, we look at the things that the Black Panthers did, and, we study from different movements, and okay, how were they able to do things? Well, people came, and, when people cash up, here's $10, here's $15, the community support that we've been able to get. Yeah, we want the $100,000 grants and things of that nature. We'll be able to do a lot with, but the people of the community has been able to help us, humbly build our situation out to where, okay, we have an independent mindset, but now that I know that y'all giving $500,000 to, to communities with this, and people that's doing this and that and the third, that resources that need to come back to the community, that people need to be able to touch and, be obtainable to people. We want those, because we don't see that, man. Like the people that's getting this money, bro, like we don't never see them in the hood, bro. I've never seen you. And I'm real careful when I talk about community, and I'm assertive when I talk about communities, the hoods and the ghettos of America. You feel me? I'm not talking about like just regular Black communities. I'm talking about the
underprivileged, underserved.
Like where is that? Like that's that. This is these are the areas that we need to work on.
And I be thinking, I got a love-hate relationship with the term Black community, because these is really white communities that are populated by Black people, until we are able to own the infrastructure and do the things like that you're working towards doing. So I appreciate everything that you've been doing. There's two things I want to ask, and then we won't take too much more of your time. But can you talk about the importance of the Black women in your organization?
Yeah, man. Like, sisters are everything, man. I feel like once again, even when you talk about the Panther movement, you've seen, the strong Black men, be faces, but the Black Panther movement was predominantly Black women. And black women help carry that movement, as they do help carry every movement. I feel like, black women, the black woman, is the most, overlooked, unappreciated human being, on the face of the earth. Like their strength, and particularly, I'm talking from a position of, their love for, our children and their love for community, and their willingness to fight back. Like that's what I see. Like even being an organizer, we talking about, women stepping up, trying to be front line and come. Sometimes we be having to turn down sisters like, we got y'all. Y'all don't need to be out here. Well, we want to come. And this is like in our organization, we got so many strong sisters. My wife, who is the executive director of our organization, and all of those sisters, man, they do tremendous work, bro. Like, we really nothing without black women. I feel like we need to really put ourselves in a position to, be a bit more understanding when it comes to sisters. As, the argument will always be, well, they need to be a bit more understanding with us. That's okay, too. But I feel like they have been through so much, and they've literally birthed generations and generations of our people through trauma, and still been there through everything. You know what I mean? Still, still standing, still have that love and energy. We just need to get back to what's important, as people, as a whole. And I feel like, it shouldn't be an argument when we talk about, black women and black men. It's like, it's too much of that debating going on. Like, okay, if you say something good about, black men, and well, what about black women? We do that. There's too much of that going on.
We're one and the same.
We are one and the same, man, and we wasting too much time trying to be different. Like, no, it's not. We need each other. A black man needs a black woman, and a black woman needs a black man. It's no like, it's equal. We equals. So, I feel like we really do need to look at that, man, because them sisters, they'll come out and they gonna fight, bro. They gonna make time. It's gonna be the black man that say, well, I can't come out today, man, because, I gotta, do so-and-so. I gotta do this, that, and the third. The sister, she gotta take care of 2-3 kids, and she gotta work, and she doing all this, but she gonna show up to that meeting. She gonna show up to that program. She gonna show up, and be concerned about the issues that's going on out in the community. So I just have great respect for, black women, for being able to be so strong through so many, so many decades and centuries, really, with our people, as well as I am with black men. You feel me? As I stated before, we equal. We've all been through a lot, as a race of people. And I feel like, if we really tap in on our roots and understand what people have really sacrificed, both black men and black women, for us to be here, that we will look at each other as different, and start to look at each other more as each other's equals, opposed to all of this competitiveness that's going on amongst us now.
And final, so do you ever have a level of concern branching out to different areas, speaking to like the Black Panther, and like y'all started here, and like you ever have a level of concern, like I don't want the eternal they to infiltrate or do something to sour me or whatnot, or like, hey, what if they think I'm getting too power? Is that something that crosses your mind? You just like, whatever, it's gonna happen. Whatever happen.
Yeah, man, I'm focused, bro. Like, when you start to think like that, you start to move from a scared perspective. I'm a fearless king, you feel me? So I'm worried about the task at hand. Whatever happened, that's why we make the best of this life thing, you feel me? Like, it's not, all of this shit is temporary. So whatever happens, it's gonna happen. But it's what you do while you here. That's the impact, bro. Like, it's 1,000, it's millions of tombstones that lie the face of the earth, but we only talk about a handful of people. So it's like, what's your contribution to society? What's your contribution to life? Did you make an impact, while you were here? Like, what was your contribution? And I feel like when we start to think like that, we move in a certain way. We tap into our true king energy, and we move as such, So, we don't worry about that. But, I hear that a lot. Well, you going to what hood? You know, we started out in O Block. You know what I mean? So, the first time we went to Chicago, so for us, and then being from Detroit, it's just something special about this city, bro. I'm not gonna lie, like us, like we unique people. Like
we grow up different here. Maybe I always say like maybe it maybe not be for the best sometimes, but there's a level of fearlessness that you have when you grow up here because you see so much. You know how to navigate the streets. You know to look for certain cues. You know when you hear certain things, it might be some danger in the area, but these are still places you got to go. There's still things you got to do. You just move. You got to move with the level of fearlessness and then like we. Not street smart, but street savvy. Street savvy. Yeah.
And that's our environment. Let us be. I feel like the one good thing about us, the street culture in Detroit that a lot of other cities, they don't have the advantage of. They box you in. Like West Coast, you're going to be boxed into color. You feel me? Like you got to be, you got to be boxed into this way of living, this way of mentality, same thing like maybe East Coast, you got different boroughs and, I'm from Brooklyn, I'm from Queens, I'm from so-and-so. It's so much division for us. We just had our streets, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't no big deal about that, for the most people. Yeah. It wasn't like you couldn't wear it. You go to LA, certain places, they like, you can't wear this color.
We make jokes about East Side and West Side, but really, it be tongue in cheek. It ain't never really been like, yo, you can't be on the West Side. That's not really a thing. You know what I'm saying?
So it put us in a position that we're able to move a bit more different. So now we're focused on more we breed it more as hustlers. Yeah. You know what I mean? We came more Detroit vibe is survival and hustling and getting to the bag. Like, that's why I be disappointed sometimes with music from here. Like, we come from a hustle culture. Like, we ain't never had to sell ourselves and being drug heads or nothing like that. We talk hustle music. We're gonna turn some payroll on or something like that, and we come from that type of energy, that energy. So we able to move in different spaces because it's not about I go to Cali. You ask me what hood I'm from, I'm gonna tell you I'm from Detroit, and it's gonna be you know what I mean? Yeah. Because the rest of the world really know like we different. You know what I mean?
You can be from any hood in Detroit, but let me tell you something that's gonna unite all of us: some money. Yeah. He's a dude from the east side gonna rock with somebody from the west side, and we can get some money together.
That's right.
That's a fact.
That's right.
Man, listen, man, we just appreciate you, man. The work that you do, up front, on the scene, and behind the scenes. You know what I'm saying? I know your day usually is probably packed because the whole city or country, continents reaching out looking for different leaderships. And we appreciate everything you do. Definitely. And we appreciate you. Coming.
And if there's anything that we can ever do to help support anything that you got going on, we always say the door is open. So please feel free to reach out, come back. We a phone call away. So
because we run the studio here, so there's a bunch of different podcasts that record out here. If y'all got an event, y'all need to go on a podcast run, let us know. Boom, boom, boom.
Respect. 110%. I appreciate y'all brothers for reaching out. It has been a long time coming, so it's definitely an honor. I love being able to join my brothers, man, who really do this shit and passionate about it, man. So I see that y'all put a lot into y'all work because what episode y'all say this was for?
351.
351 episodes.
Consecutive weeks.
Oh, okay.
No days off since June 15th of 2016.
Man, I always think about like that. We done did episodes. I was literally in the hospital. You can hear it
beeping
in
the hospital. I lost my mom during this time. He lost his father during this time. He almost lost his life twice. We didn't record it. Live from the hospital bed, doctors giving the medicine and all that. But I won't allow us to go a week without putting out something on a Saturday morning. It's one thing you can count on. Shop Talk Podcast is gonna be out every Saturday for sure.
That's real. That's real. That's commendable and respectable, man. You have no choice but to be successful when you add that consistency into it.
Yeah. Damn, you got a music pick this week, my brother?
I sent it to you. Shout out to the homie Macho. I got to order the pay-per-view, man. I feel like a bad friend because I haven't watched it yet. But the song is Racks Up, featuring Kush Mac, Cushy Jackson, and Icewear Mezzo.
All right, let's see what we hitting on with this.
I really want that video to stop.
Man, it's a lot.
It's approaching 500,000.
It's already past. It's like 530.
Okay, last time I saw it,
I wanted
hit 500,000.
I wanted to stop.
But shout out to Jay Will. I love you to death for what you did for me.
Hold on, there we go. Cushy Racks, he from here? I know clearly Mezzo is. Is he from here?
I'm not sure if he's from here, but shout out to Macho for the look because I was kind of lost on music. I really want to get in a lot more R&B music this year.
Yeah.
And so I want, like, if you tapped in with the show, send me some R&B music.
So low key, somebody sent us some R&B too. I forgot. I think I forgot.
There's an artist that recently did one of the In the Field shoots. Was an R&B artist.
Yeah,
I was looking for more of his music, and I only saw something online that was like a couple years old. But I'm gonna be trying to tap into a little bit more of that. But I know it's a lot of. Look, I'm not knocking no rappers, especially not Detroit rappers that are coming up because the city got a spotlight on us. But it's more than just rap coming out the city, and I just want to tap into that as well. Shout out to Skilla Baby. I want to shout out to him personally. My daughter, who nothing excites her, he showed up at Renaissance and she all cheesing in that picture. So shout out to him for giving my daughter a little bit of an experience.
The Joy Road brethren.
Yeah, man.
All right, whose man's is this? All right, listen, man. It's been this story that's been floating around today on the internets, and it says a Rochester school under fire after a 6th grade field trip ends at a lounge with pole dancing. And that sounds wild as hell, right?
Right.
So then I just wanted to read to see what this was. Because usually the picture and the title always looks wild. You feel me? So then I started reading and figure out what happened. So apparently they went to Nikki's, the pizza place. Because it's a pizza place. You know what I'm saying?
They have really good pizza.
And apparently they had ran out of room, so they put them in the empty lounge side. You feel me? And the kids went over to they was not at a strip club. They were not at a gentleman's club. I understand this picture looks wild. You feel me?
Somebody and the head been around to like,
and the headline looked wild. But like I'm looking at the 1,400 comments and I see everything like sometimes we just gotta like relax. And like sometimes there's like a reasonable explanation for like a lot of this stuff.
There's a little gap in supervision. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody should have probably been like, yo, y'all get off of that. You know what I'm saying? Like we not here for that. Y'all get down.
Yeah, like look, they was at it's a pizza place, right? But the bigger thing is this is what happens when all the businesses in the city have to double as a nightclub just to stay open. Because if I can make enough money as a restaurant, I might not have to turn this bitch into a club every weekend. Remember in, I don't know, I guess it's been about 10 years ago. It was South, Chinchow, all these places. There was regular restaurants. And then 10:30, 11 o'clock
on Friday night and it turned into a spot.
Yeah, because it's not like the restaurant. It's not. It don't be paying like.
You know what, man? I say this, because I'm a man. I love to see a little TNA when I can fit it into my schedule.
Nikki's ain't where the TNA is. Like this is not a strip club.
I got a whole nother beef. Like for brunch, I really want y'all to stop shaking your ass at brunch. Like, can I just enjoy my omelet and my mimosa with some friends and like. I don't need a DJ turning up for brunch. Yeah, it's already bad enough I'm missing church. I don't need.
Shout out to Macho. He did a whole in his comedy special. It's a whole thing about the trap brunches.
I want y'all to stop. Yeah. I just want y'all to stop. I want to be able to take my kids when I get a woman. I just want to be able to take my lady to brunch and not worry about y'all throwing ass in a circle over my French toast.
That's a fact. That is a 100% fact. Yeah, for sure.
And I don't want to have to go out to Royal Oak or Birmingham to do it. Like I should be able to go to downtown and have brunch. Just be brunch.
And I should be able to do that in the Avenue of Fashion without my car being broke into. Because this shit is fucking horrible. Okay? Like, damn, let us have some.
Hold on, man. I do want to hold on, because it's my
people out here with legitimate businesses and restaurants trying to thrive, and then niggas want to come and break in your car.
So there's a new restaurant on Livernois, Soul on Ice.
Yeah.
Nice lounge spot. They done put a lot of money into this spot. It's not on the Avenue of Fashion, but it is on Livernois. I went there just on a humble, had a good drink. They do have food there, but I just happened to have a drink there one evening. Really nice spot, Black owned. Y'all should get out there and support it. It's a beautiful establishment.
Also, Crazy Horse. Who performing this weekend? Go ahead.
I forget. Shout out to Rambo for hitting me up about what's going on at the Horse this weekend. Dave Hill, our homie, is performing at the Horse this weekend. Rambo said he can get us on the list if you want to come out on Sunday night. It is the King weekend, which I got to work Monday. I gotta work.
Oh, listen.
Come on, dog. And I'll stop putting Dr. King on flyers.
Come on, man.
Bottles. He wasn't about that. He wasn't about getting in the club free before 10. Stop doing that.
Why y'all be doing this? And then listen, like a real person that I know in real life who be in this studio.
We know very well.
Like the flyer with the gold teeth on Martin. Like
he looked like Gucci Mane.
Yo, why we be doing this to Martin? Martin don't get no respect, dog. Y'all know I go, you know what? This is the last episode before
Martin Luther King.
Yo, I go on this rant yearly. I do not like the disrespect that y'all pay Martin Luther King. Soon as his name is thrown out there, y'all repeat these same FBI tales about, he was cheating on his wife. He was doing that. You don't fucking know that. The FBI told you that, right? The same motherfuckers the same people who murdered and assassinated him told you he was doing all this other stuff. You do not know that. I don't know. I don't give a fuck. That shit happened a long time ago. Your mama probably wasn't even born. You do not know that for a fact to be soiling his name. And that's the first thing niggas bring up.
Look,
he's a good man.
I just want y'all to have an honest moment with yourself. Some of y'all met y'all second family when your granddaddy died. All right, let's just keep it 100.
I'm just saying.
Some of y'all got siblings around the block.
Jokes aside,
judge a little bit differently.
That's a good man, and it took a lot of restraint to go through what he did nationally for the disrespect on his birthday, the day that we celebrate his birth. That y'all do the man so wrong.
There's a black woman
Why?
in the head of HR at the organization I work with, and I got to work on Monday. I just feel it's unright. It's unright.
Yo, last year I started this new gig. My manager, who was white, she was off on Juneteenth, and I was not. And I thought that was pretty interesting. And I'm like, I don't know how to feel about this. I was only a couple months in, so I was like,
all of my employees are off on Monday, but management got to work. And I just don't feel like that's right.
I think I was still in my 90 days. I couldn't even not come. But listen, whose man is this? Stop fucking doing that shit to Martin Luther King. It's not right. It's not right. It's not right. Don't do it no more.
That's it, man. And read the whole article before y'all go with just the headlines.
That's a big fact, dog. I want the details before I jump out the window.
So Zeke, at the end of the show, we always open it up for our guests to give their information, socials, anything that they got going on. So I want to give you the floor where people can find out more about you, what New Era Detroit is doing.
So just tap in. We New Era Detroit on all platforms, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. If you are interested in becoming a volunteer and doing more work in the community, you can email us at volunteer@newerworld.work. That's .work. We the only people that's using .work out here is a thing. So, and if you want to, if you can't give your time, if you can't donate, you can donate. So, New Era Detroit on Cash App, $ New Era Detroit, or on Cash App. The movement definitely needs support to be able to run. So it's always a role to play in the movement. We all we got. So let's just keep it going and support the people that's out here supporting you.
We appreciate it. It's your man Dame, 3_313 on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, wherever you can find the socials. That's where you can find me. When you see the blue and the black, you know where you at. The Shop Talk Podcast studio. Book some time.
Shout out to y'all, man. 351 weeks in a row. We appreciate you. We couldn't do it without you. Shout out to Zeek for stopping through. Shout out to the whole New Era Detroit. Man, we got some shit coming up this month, dog. We got some cool guests next week. Matter of fact, ending out the month. Matter of fact, you even gave me 2 more guests for next month.
Yeah.
We
lining some stuff up.
Yeah. So, yo, Shop Talk it's an army, better yet a Navy.
Yeah.
But when you see the blue and the black, you know where you at. Shop Talk Podcast Studio, book some time. I'm not saying we the Rockefeller podcast, but we are Jay and Dame.
Hell yeah.
Peace.